Hey, back with another video. Tim Norman, he was the former Sweetie Pie star. He was found guilty today. He learned his fate today, and he was found guilty today. The judge sentenced him to life in federal prison for murder for hire against his nephew, Andre Montgomery Jr. Yes, back in September, a jury had spent like 17 hours deliberating, determining the final verdict. Norman was found guilty of all charges, including conspiracy to commit murder for hire resulting in death, and mail fraud. Norman and his family are known for the reality TV show Welcome to Sweetie Pies that was on the Oprah Winfrey Network. And they own restaurants where they sold soul food, cooked soul food. Back in 2020, Norman was accused of being the mastermind behind his nephew's death in 2016. Court documents show that Norman took out a life insurance policy on Montgomery for $450,000 in 2014. Last week, Norman took to social media. Tim wrote this claiming his innocence with a captor saying innocent. Three others that have been charged and pleaded guilty for their roles. It was three other people that was with him in October. 31-year-old Tre'vell Anthony was sentenced to 32 years in prison after pleading guilty for his involvement of the shooting. In his plea agreement, Hill admitted to meeting Montgomery's uncle, James Timothy Norton, on the day of the murder. He also stated that he understood Norman wanted Montgomery killed. Back in November 22, another person that was with them, Y.L. Yaham, Norman's insurance agency, was sentenced to 3 years in prison after pleading guilty to conspiracy to commit mail and wire fraud. And in January 2023, 39-year-old Tierra Ellison was sentenced to 3 years in prison. All of them testified against Tim. Yeah, Tim, that was his older brother, son that he had killed. And his oldest brother, he got killed in the 90s. I think it had to be gang related, I think. So I'm going to say allegedly. And Miss Robbie, their mother, she owned the Sweetie Pie restaurant. She was a backup singer for Ike and Tina Turner back in the day. She was one of the Ikeettes or whatever. So Tim got, it's just been a day today about people going to court. Tim got what he deserved. He should not did that to Andre, knowing that Andre's daddy is dead, and that's the only, that was his mama's grandchild. That was, that's all she had of her son, and now you didn't have him killed, which he tried to deny, and you took that $450,000 insurance policy out on, and you still didn't get it and stuff. He was just needing cash. We all know that, him and his mama, Miss Robbie, right here, they fell out because he was stealing money from her and opening up restaurants in her name. They had like the two restaurants in St. Louis. They had the Mangrove. He worked at the Mangrove, and they had the Upper Crust. That was a bigger restaurant. That's the one she ran. He went open up restaurants, I think, in Texas, Tennessee, California. One of them was a burger joint, and they all closed down. And people were saying that food used to be good back in the day, but it had got nasty. I do know my mom had went on a trip to St. Louis. I think it was about 10 years ago. She said the food wasn't all that. She called me and said it was not all that. I said, well, I heard people say that it used to be good, but it's not good no more. A lot of people can't cook soul food. These younger people, back then, when she started, she had some older people that knew how to cook. These young folks and stuff, they can cook, but they can't cook that soul food right like your mama or your grandma or her mama and so on. So that's probably why that food had went downhill like it did, because my mom did say, she said that food was not all that. She had got some chicken wings and it wasn't even seasoned. I'm like, what? Because if you ever watched that show, well, that food looked so good on there. But I heard several people say that, the food wasn't good. I had a classmate that was a truck driver, and he had a stop up there in St. Louis, and he stopped there, and he said it wasn't good. He said the only thing was good was the tea. I said, oh, wow. I said, that's crazy. But Tim shouldn't have did that. He shouldn't have did Miss Robbie like that. Miss Robbie is an older woman. She old up in age, so you didn't got sentenced to life in federal prison, or whether he's not, no parole, so you're not getting out. And we all know when you're in federal prison, it's not like state. It's different from state. When you're in federal, you be all over. You be in different states. You be locked up with, celebrities and all that, big time drug dealers and stuff. So he At first, I couldn't believe he had did it, but then I could. If you was watching Sweetie Pie's the reality show, to me he act like he was jealous of his nephew. And then in that one episode, Miss Robbie's house had got robbed, and somebody stole all that jewelry, and they were saying that Andre had did it. I think Tim was, put in her head that he had did it, and she actually believed it. But it people were saying that Tim had somebody break inside his mama house. I'm gonna say allegedly. He had his mama break inside his mama house and wanted her to think that Andre had did it because they ramshacked her home and stole all kinds of jewelry and all that. And he kept saying, "Grandma, I didn't do it and stuff." And but it was a sad situation. Um, she went and got Andre because he was staying in Texas. He was getting in trouble over there, and I think his mama couldn't do nothing with him, so she got him and brought him back to St. Louis, and she got him a job at the restaurant, and he had graduated from high school, and he played in the reality show, and then I noticed I didn't see him no more. He had went back to Texas. Him and Tim had fell out. I think it was because of Miss Robbie's house got robbed because she thought that Andre had did it, but word out on the street and on these Facebook streets and YouTube streets, and they said Tim had somebody break inside his own mama house, just and for money because he was needing money because all them restaurants they was opening up, well he was opening up, they was closing down. They because people were saying the food wasn't all that, and him and her was on the outs. She took him to court. I think she was suing him trying to get her money back because he was going behind her back, opening up all these restaurants. Tennessee, I think it was one in California. Was it one in Maryland? And say the food was not all that. So then I know he got that his oldest son Timmy, the little boy he's holding there. That little boy now, I think he like 14. That's his mom right there in the red and black shirt or whatever. She was wanting to marry Tim. Tim had gave her a ring and supposed had married her, but he didn't marry her and all that. She better be glad she didn't marry her and stuff because Tim had some secrets. He had some demons and stuff. I'm glad she got away from him, but she met this other guy and married him, and then she had a baby, and so she seemed to be living good or whatever. I'm following her on Instagram, but then Tim got another little boy by this girl, and I think that little boy about 3 or 4 years old. It's sad that he's not even gonna get to know his daddy because his daddy, for the messed F stuff he did. I'm not gonna say the word I want to say. You had your own nephew killed, really, dude, for some. And what was I mean? The restaurant he was running, the Mangrove, he was making good money. They was that restaurant, they was making money. It was people coming in there and stuff. So I don't know what he was doing with all his money. I do know he tried to live above his means, try to drive all these nice cars and stuff like that and stuff. You can't, spend, you got to live how spend your money what you can spend and stuff. He wanted to be a celebrity. Well, he was kind of celebrity or whatever, but like I say, he was connected to his mom, and his mom was an Ikeette, what she sung with Ike and Tina Turner. So the whole thing was just a sad situation. And Miss Robbie is like in her late 80s and stuff. And then you do that and stuff. So now, she lost her oldest son, which was Andre's daddy. I think he got killed in 95. And then, here, and then you had Andre killed, and now you gone out to prison. Dude, you wasn't even thinking about your mama. You really wasn't. And you had some people, these YouTube streets, was saying they believe he was gonna have a hit out on her. I'm gonna say allegedly. I said you never know what people would do. People, some people do have their parents killed. Cause I look at the Menendez brothers where they didn't have their parents killed. The Menendez boys, they killed their parents and stuff. You just never know what people would do for money. Money is the root of all evil. But I think he got what he deserved. He got sentenced to life in federal prison. He is not coming home. And you'll sit in your cell and you'll think about what you doing, what you have did and stuff, because you shouldn't have did it. That hurted your mom. But then on top of that, Miss Robbie, she still was sticking by Tim. They say she was saying that he didn't do it, but when they read out the verdict and stuff, I believe they knew he was going to prison. He didn't have no kind of remorse or nothing like that. He was saying that he didn't do it, but all the evidence pointed towards him. So it was just to say, I just really did hate that for Andre, because Andre was doing good. He graduated from school and all that, and then you do that and stuff. It's just sad. So yeah, I just want to do that video on James Timothy Norton. He is heading to federal prison for having his own nephew killed, his oldest brother's son killed, for a $450,000 insurance policy, and he didn't even get the policy. And I'm glad he didn't. So, and now the insurance policies, now they investigate stuff. So he just knew he was gonna get that money because he had ran out of money. Miss Robbie had cut him off. He couldn't get no more money from her. The restaurants had closed down or whatever. So he was just scrapping for cash. So it is what it is. I hate that for his kids, especially his youngest son, because he got one 3 years old. And that's the end of this video. And I'm out.